Cole Palmer has rewritten football history right before our eyes. Yesterday, the Englishman scored 4 goals in just 20 minutes. Guardiola has declared war on Arsenal. Fans of the French national team are demanding that Mbappe be stripped of the captain's armband. Bayern Munich is taking the Bundesliga's main star to spite all competitors. Jong is fleeing from Barcelona. Manchester City has found a replacement for Rodri. Mykhailo Mudryk is leaving for Barcelona on loan. We are talking about this and much more today. This is a hot selection of the most interesting football news. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and like this video to get more news about our favorite game. Your support is very important to us. Let's get started. Todd Boehly is rightly being criticized for his transfer policy. Under him, Chelsea has spent over €1 billion on some strange players like Leslie Ugochukwu and others. But let's finally talk about some good signings, namely Cole Palmer. He is an amazing footballer. In yesterday's match against a tough Brighton, Palmer set an England record by scoring 4 goals in the first half. To be precise, it took him only 20 minutes. No one has achieved such a feat before. So many football legends have passed through the Premier League, it's hard to count, but only Cole Palmer has managed to score 4 goals in one half. And this guy cost Chelsea only €50 million, which is a mere pittance by the standards of European giants. Unless we're talking about Barcelona, of course. If we also remember that Palmer is only 22 years old, he is very young and capable of performing at a high level for another decade. Such a sum seems like a bargain. If it weren't for Boehly's crazy and reckless spending, perhaps the world wouldn't have been able to enjoy the play of such an incredible footballer. Also, it's worth noting the absurdity and phenomenal situation at Chelsea right now. 75 million for Mudryk and 60 million for Neto are sitting on the bench behind free agent Jadon Sancho, who is tearing up the left flank of the attack. And how foolish Manchester United's management seems when they realize that they let such a great winger go to another club while keeping the ineffective Antony. Pep Guardiola has publicly declared war on Mikel Arteta and his Arsenal.
You want war?
Now we're at war, Gabriel said after the match.
This is war.
We need to provoke the opponent, push them. It's the end of the match. What can you do? We all heard it. Are you provoking us? Fine, Guardiola said. That was the reaction of the City manager to Arsenal defender Gabriel. Frankly, it's strange to hear something like this from Pep. But all this post-football behind-the-scenes drama has long been a part of the show called football. So why not attract attention to yourself and your team? Although some of you might say that such talks are unworthy of a head coach, especially one like Pep Guardiola. We want to remind you that the match between Manchester City and Arsenal ended in a 2-2 draw. Perhaps that hit Guardiola the hardest. He was clearly frustrated. He really wanted to take all 3 points in this game. Well, let's see if there's any development in this story. Manchester City is still at the top of the league table. With 13 points, Arsenal is in 3rd place, with the Gunners having 11 points. Guardiola also confirmed that the team has lost Rodri for at least this season. This morning, he underwent surgery on his cruciate ligament and partially on his meniscus. He will be ready for the next season. This season is over for him. The City press service reports his words on social media. In connection with this, rumors have emerged that the citizens will be looking for a replacement for one of their team leaders. For example, Interlife reports that Manchester City will attempt to acquire Inter-midfielder Hakan Çalhanoğlu. The source even reveals some details about this transfer, including its cost. This transfer could cost the citizens around €50 million. Çalhanoğlu's market value is €45 million. His contract with Inter runs until 2027. We don't know how worthy Hakan will be as a replacement for Rodri if we consider his purchase in this context. It will be hard to assess this transfer, but overall, he is an excellent player and can definitely provide help. The question is how interesting this move will be for him. He understands perfectly well why and for what reason they want to take him. And what will happen when Rodri recovers? What place in the team he will occupy then? Or are all those talks that the Spaniard will swap Garage for Real Madrid true? In general, the potential to move to a club like Manchester City is a good opportunity. However, there are also pitfalls in all of this. Again, it's worth remembering that Çalhanoğlu will be 31 years old. Perhaps his next contract will be the last in his career. So this question should be approached with great care. At Inter, he is a leader, at least one of them. He is loved by the fans. Additionally, the team is fighting for all possible trophies. Yes, Manchester City pursues similar goals, but we wouldn't expect him to become some kind of key player for this club. Guardiola's team is just too good and deep. Bayern Munich intends to intercept Florian Wirtz from other contenders for this player. The club has set itself the goal of acquiring the midfielder at any cost and is ready to offer 100 million euros for him. The Munich team expects that the price tag for him will drop slightly this summer compared to what Bayern wants to receive. Let's remember that they value him at 150 million euros. But, as is well known, the less time remaining on a contract, the cheaper the player becomes. There is much talk that Wirtz's new team could be Real Madrid. This is linked to the possible transfer of Bayern's current coach, Xabi Alonso, there. Allegedly, Wirtz, in addition to strengthening the squad of Los Blancos, will be a kind of gift for the new coach to make things even sweeter for him. However, for Wirtz himself, this may not be the best option. After all, competition at Real is fierce, and who knows how his fate will unfold at this club. Bayern also has its share of players, but in this regard, it's a bit easier. Again, Wirtz is German, and as we know, Germans aren't particularly fond of leaving their homeland, much like Italians. Yes, there are exceptions, of course, but there aren't many. Additionally, the opportunity to play for Bayern has always attracted them more than for other teams. The thing is, not all of them are needed by the Munich club, but when such an opportunity arises, there are almost no willing to refuse this club. So who knows how this story will end if Bayern fully engages in this transfer duel for Wirtz against other contenders. Meanwhile, Barcelona's head coach Hansi Flick continues to dodge questions about a new goalkeeper for his team and whether one will be signed. It is quite possible that Iñaki Peña will be the main goalkeeper throughout the season. Why not? He is training well and has already kept a clean sheet. Moreover, it's good for his confidence. Signing another goalkeeper? I don't know what will happen. We'll have to wait, said Hansi Flick. Journalist Matteo Moretto reports that Szczęsny will still join the Blaugrana, and the club is about to announce it. Who knows, maybe by the time you're watching this video it has already happened. However, he clarifies that the Pole is initially being taken as a reserve goalkeeper. That is, if Peña performs well, then, as Flick said, he will be the main guardian of the Blaugrana's goal throughout the season. And Wojciech will serve as a kind of insurance in case something goes wrong and will be ready at any moment to replace his young colleague. Overall, the decision isn't so bad. Throwing Peña into the deep end in the sense of making him the main goalkeeper without a fallback is a risky move. But having an experienced keeper like Szczęsny for this situation is an excellent idea. This way, the fans can sleep peacefully, and it will be psychologically easier for Peña himself when he understands that not all the burden of responsibility rests on him. But if Barca plans to rely on him in the future, he definitely needs to be given a chance to prove himself. Continuing the topic about the Blaugrana, as reported by Football Insider, the club is ready to pay Frenkie de Jong 18 million to leave the team in the summer. 18 million is the amount owed on his salary, so these aren't just random numbers cited by the press. De Jong's contract with the team expires in 2026, so now is the best time to sell him. Otherwise, the team risks losing him for free in the future, so time is working in Frenkie's favor here. After all, he will not sign a new contract, but will simply see out this one and leave as a free agent, which is, of course, not in Barca's interest. And paying these very 18 million would be more profitable to have the possibility of selling him in the future. Apparently, this is what the plan is. At least that's how it seems to us. Frenkie earns close to 40 million per season. He costs the club very, very much, although if you delve deeper into the situation, these very 18 million he wants are exactly the amount that was previously deducted from his salary. Essentially, he is asking to be paid according to the original contract, not the new one where his salary was significantly reduced. So in a way, his demands are fair. Bartomeu made a mess back then, but that's not de Jong's problem. He is simply, as they say, a hired worker. Right now, according to Transfermarkt, the Dutchman is valued at 70 million euros. Perhaps selling him at market value would suit Barcelona. But overall, it's a strange decision, to invest so much money in a player and then try to offload him. But this is Barca. Such things sometimes happen with this club. On the other hand, in support of the Catalans, we want to say that de Jong's transfer did not turn out to be revolutionary for the team. Yes, he's a good player, but nothing extraordinary, and also injury-prone to boot. So maybe the decision to sell him would be the right one. Previously, teams from the EPL were interested in his services. A lot was written at one time about Manchester United. How things stand now, whether MU still desires to buy him, we find it difficult to say. And what do you think about selling Frenkie? Is it the right decision, or should he be kept at Barcelona? Share your thoughts in the comments. We will be happy to discuss this with you. Meanwhile, we move on to the next block of news. While Mbappé is trying to pave his way to the status of a legend at Real Madrid, a rebellion is brewing against him in France. Fans no longer want to see the forward as the national team captain. Supporters would prefer Antoine Griezmann to lead the team. So where do such shifts in the local public's mood come from? Of course, first and foremost, they were influenced by Mbappé's unsuccessful performance at the European Championship, where he looked lackluster even against the backdrop of the French national team's pale play. Secondly, he is suing his club over some paltry 50 million euros. Because of this, in the opinion of French fans, Mbappé does not deserve to wear the captain's armband in the national team. But let's be honest, the turtle has already shown himself to be a leader of this team. I still vividly recall that video where, in the World Cup final, Mbappé gave a speech in the locker room between the first and second halves. After that, France came back from a 0-2 deficit and took the match into extra time. Mbappé absolutely deserves to wear the captain's armband, even though several veterans have been in the team longer than he has. By nature, he fights for the national team and takes negative results to heart. Even at Madrid, he quickly became the person whom others listened to in the star-studded locker room. Therefore, I doubt that Deschamps will yield to the crowd and take the captain's armband away from the forward. As for me, everything will remain the same despite the growing discontent. That's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video, and be sure to watch our previous video. It just appeared before your eyes right now. See you. Good luck to everyone. Goodbye.